Question 19. 2y minus 4x plus 10 equals 0 is a linear equation. What are the coordinates of the y-intercept? That's the first question. Second question says, what is the gradient of the equation? Let's take these two first before we go to the other part of the question. You might be confused about the term, the coordinates of the y-intercept. The coordinates there means plural. That means you need the x and the y coordinates of the y-intercept. I know what the y-intercept is. It's the point where the line crosses the y-axis. And we can't get it directly with this equation. It has to be in the standard format, which says y equals mx plus c. So we take this equation and make it look like this. So we have 2y minus 4x plus 10 equals 0. We want y to stand alone on the left and the minus 4x and the plus 10 on the right of the equals sign. So we have 2y equals, this 4x owns this negative. So this minus 4x crosses the equals to sign and turns to plus 4x. But standard in math, you say add 4x to both sides. But the result is still same as saying minus 4x crosses the equals sign and turns to plus 4x. Then we have plus 10. Plus 10 also crosses the equals sign and becomes minus 10. Standard, we say add minus 10 to both sides or subtract 10 from both sides. So the result is still same as plus 10 crosses and becomes minus 10. At this point, some students will take this to stand as a standard equation and take the y-intercept as minus 10. But before you take an equation as standard, the coefficient of y has to be 1, not even minus 1. It has to be positive 1. Once it's positive 1, you can then find the y-intercept or the gradient. Here in the standard equation, the coefficient of y is 1. So this has to be 1 too. And for you to get the coefficient of y to be 1, the coefficient of y is 2 in this case. You divide both sides by 2. So we divide this by 2. Then since you have negative in the middle of the 4x and the 10, you would have to give the 4x a separate 2 and the 10 also a separate 2. If it were also addition, same applies. The 4x gets its separate 2 and the 10 gets its separate 2. That's a law in math. But if it were to be multiplication or division, you just divide both by just 1, 2. So in this case, since it's negative, we divide 4x by 2 and minus 10 by 2. 2 cancels 2, y equals 4 divided by 2, or 2 in 4 will give you 2. You have it with the x. It's like saying 2 here 1, 2 here 2, minus 10 divided by 2, or 2 in 10, that's 5. You now have the coefficient of y to be 1. Therefore, this equation is now in standard form, where you have the coefficient of y to be 1 and it's on the left alone. From here, you can get the coordinates of the y-intercept. Listen to the word, the coordinates, that's plural. What they mean by the coordinates of the y-intercept, let's make a graph here. These are our y-axis and this is our x-axis. The y-intercept means the point where the line crosses the y-axis, and it's represented with c in this standard formula. So here our c as a constant is minus 5. So that means the y-coordinate of the y-intercept, that, in other words, the y-coordinate of where the line crosses the y-axis is minus 5. Let's say this is our negative 5. The line can go like this. Let's just take the line goes like this. That means the line crosses the y-axis at negative 5. And at this point where it crosses the y-axis, the x-coordinate is 0. It's at x is 0, y is minus 5. So the coordinates of the y-intercept is x is 0, y is minus 5. you write the x coordinate before the y coordinate. So back to the question, the coordinates of the y-intercept are x is 0, y is -5. The second question says, what is the gradient of the equation? Looking at standard equation, the gradient is always the number attached to the x. In other words, you say the gradient in this case is the coefficient of x, and it has to be in this format before we can determine or pick out the gradient. And here is the format. Remember, we turned the initial equation, which was 2y minus 4x plus 10 equals 0, into y equals 2x minus 5. The coefficient of x, or the number attached to x, is 2, and that represents the gradient. So the gradient of this equation is 2. So we have this as 2. Below is the second equation, y minus 7 equals 2x. Mike says it is parallel to 2y minus 4x plus 10 equals 0. Circle the right option that yes, no, cannot be determined. Give the reason for your answer. Here is the second equation. Mike says it's parallel to the initial one, which is 2y minus 4x plus 10 equals 0. Now, how do you determine if two equations are parallel without actually drawing it on a Cartesian plane, that's on an x and y plane? Now, what you can use to determine if they are parallel is if they have the same gradient. And we know the gradient of the first equation is 2. We need to find the gradient of the second equation. And before we can do that, we have to make the equation standard. That we have y minus 7 equals 2x. The standard equation is y equals mx plus c. So if you want this equation to look like this, where y will be alone on the left and the other values are on the right, we have to take this minus 7 and take it over the equals sign. So we have y minus 7 equals 2x. That's rewriting the equation. The minus 7 crosses and becomes plus 7. Standard in math, you see add 7 to both sides, which has the same effect as saying minus 7 crosses and becomes plus 7. So we have y equals 2x plus 7. With the equation looking like this, we can determine the gradient of the equation, which in this case is the coefficient of x, which is 2. So the gradient of the second equation is also 2. And with both of them having the same gradient, it means the equations are parallel. So the right option is yes. Mike is correct, and the reason is that both equations have the same gradient.